And we're live.
Nice.
That's the signal. You're on the air. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the last panel of the day on National Girls Who Print Day. Woo! Today was an exceptionally monumental Girls Who Print Day because I won the Girlie Award by not even knowing it. The sneaky people in my booth managed to keep it from me in my own booth. So I still am really, really, really surprised by it and honored. But here today we are talking about, are your bits fit? Workflow integration without perspiration. Everybody get my pun there? Fit bits, bits fit, yeah,
I love
maybe,
puns.
yeah?
I love
Okay.
puns.
Yay, Joanne got it. Without a doubt, workflow is very topical among the print community. Integration, optimization, these are words that come up all the time on my weekly print chat on Twitter. Now, some of you might be saying, oh, it's something on Twitter. Well, this little thing on Twitter gets anywhere from 6 to 8 million impressions. And all the social media people are shaking their heads because they know that Twitter, that print chat is no joke. Hey, Slava, all the print chatters are here. As a matter of fact, I think, Joanne, you said that your social media metrics for the month vary on whether or not you attend print chat. That you can see a significant difference in the amount of people that connect with you and Avanti by your participation. So some of the questions we have here are actually crowdsourced from those chatters. These are actual printers who are interested in learning about this and understanding how this fits in with their business. So I just wanted to give you that background so you understand that this is about an information exchange. This isn't about one company versus another company. This is about every company having an opportunity to share their information with the people in the audience here and the people at home, for you to make the best decisions that are best in your business. Now, these happen to be the alliance companies, the companies that are smart enough to work with the Printerverse and understand that we have this reach beyond these four walls, but there are certainly other vendors out there. I just wanted to make that clear that we're not supporting any sales here. Whoops, we are supporting information exchange. So with that being said, starting with Solimar, please introduce yourself, briefly tell everybody a little bit about you do, and tell us about the workflow conversations that are going on in your booth, please.
Thank you, Printerverse, aka Deb. I'm Paul Abdul. I'm with Solimar Systems. The workflow conversations that are going on in our booth are with respect to what is workflow and what's your definition of it and how do you play in it. And I talked on an earlier panel, if you were able to participate in that. If not, I'll tell you, I really feel that it's a very not linear, it's a very circular workflow today, from data back to data. We use it and we recreate and we get things through our operation. So that's what we're talking about, and Solimar Systems plays in that entire area from the time that data is received to the time a communication goes out the door, whether it's on paper or if it's electronic.
Thanks so much, Rico Suave. Yeah, we got some stacked Rico people in the audience today. They brought the team with them.
Yes. I'm Danielle Dunlap, and I'm a Solutions Development Manager for Rico. I live and work in New Jersey. When I'm not out visiting customers, I'm in our lab. What's hot in the booth this year? We've had a lot of traction over in our consulting services group. I'm sorry.
Look at the camera.
We've had a lot of traction over in our consulting services group. People are very excited about services and what Rico can offer this year. Campaign management, I've seen a lot of demonstrations. Customers very interested in how they can grow the services in their business. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to
Cannon. So Cannon.
Yes, my name is Bob Barbera. I'm the Senior Marketing Manager at Canon USA, and I am responsible for our solutions business and trying to help customers develop their business. What's happening in the Canon booth today and at the show, what we're hearing in conversations is really about doing more with less, doing more jobs with less time to get those jobs produced, getting more jobs out with less staff, less resources, less touch points. So automation is critical. How does that workflow streamline their production? How can it become more efficient? How can the workflow help them bring in new work, new types of work, expand their business, and at the same time become more efficient?
Thanks so much. HP?
Hi, this is Bob Rouse, and what we're talking about in the HP booth is very similar topics. We are also focused a lot on color management, color consistency, not only job to job and press to press, but then site to site across one PSP or multiple PSPs. And we're also getting a lot of questions and traction on cloud-based workflows. So the ability to automate from anywhere, to access systems from anywhere, and to move jobs quickly through the cloud to add value and deliver new levels of automation.
Thanks so much. Avanti.
Steve McWilliam from Avanti. So we're the folks that help with job costing, job tracking, and billing. And I consider everybody on the panel one of my partners, and I take care a partner of ours, and I take care of the partners at Avanti. So what's going on in our booth and what people want to talk about is how do you bring all these pieces together? If I've got multiple vendors in my shop, I've got these islands of automation, and my biggest challenge is how do I share the data across all of those platforms? And so this is a perfect time to talk about integration and automation and getting those pieces to work together.
The Printiverse is very topical.
It is. So you might notice that I'm the one without a booth number on the bottom. My name is Pat McGrew, and I work for InfoTrends, and I cover everything that these lovely people do. I own the production workflow service at InfoTrends, so we're tracking their installations. We're talking to their customers. We're identifying satisfaction points. We're identifying holes, perhaps, in what they're offering, who's got best in breed in their offerings, and trying to constantly keep up with them in terms of the things that they are offering, because it is an amazingly vibrant workspace right now.
Thanks so much. So, as I mentioned, we did crowdsource some questions, and this first question is from Print Chatter Pineberry Inc., who wants to know, how do you help customers create more efficiency in their business processes so that jobs are prioritized and scheduled for maximum machine usage? And can you share any specific examples? Now, before you answer, Paul, I'll start, Solomon, I'll start with you. I just want you to know that I'm a print buyer, so I don't understand most of this. I am just being the conduit, because that's what I do. I represent the people. So if I look at you with a glazed look, it's just because I honestly don't know what you're talking about. I'm not a printer. Solomon.
Wow, great question. So just to reiterate, prioritized and scheduled for maximum usage is what?
Maximum machine usage, and can you share any specific examples? The print chatters like case studies. They want to hear actual stories.
Right. So I actually just had lunch with one of my customers from Bermuda today, and he told me that one of the things that he's put in place allowed him to do something in an automated fashion that allowed him to actually reduce overtime and reduce their costs. And so I always talk about the money part of it, but the money comes from the usage or the capacity. So when you are maximizing utilization with a proper workflow, it allows you to then go a little bit further. So the example in his particular case was he was trying to concatenate or bring jobs together so that the machine's uptime was longer. So by bringing those jobs together in an electronic fashion prior to printing, it allowed that machine run to be longer, and that was an example.
Thank you. Rico.
Well, it really starts with a conversation with the customer and really understanding the customer's current environment. But to get more specific, we have a fantastic solution called Batch Builder that actually takes and batches like jobs with like jobs. You can connect directly from a web to print or an MIS solution and take that XML data and feed it into Batch Builder. It's very flexible as far as being able to map into the Batch Builder application itself, and then you can set any kind of filtering criteria. What are we looking for? Is it books with covers, and when we get 60,000 pages or a full roll, go ahead and shoot it off to the printer and then feed the information and reconcile it back to the MIS system? Or are we going to be in a cut sheet world where we're going to take all the business cards, which could be the least profitable type of products that you offer, but you want to support those customers and keep that business, take all those business cards and build them together. It's got alerts, it's got prioritization and scheduling features in it, and it's a great application.
Thanks so much. Cannon.
Okay, there are a number of different types of solutions to help with streamlining production and automation. The one example that I wanted to talk about was one of our controller solutions, which is called Prisma Sync. And Prisma Sync is very unique because Prisma Sync has a scheduler and allows you to schedule and rearrange jobs up to 8 hours. It also allows the operator to see when they have to take interactions on the press. So they might know that I can run that press for 30 minutes, and I'm going to have to load paper, or I'm going to have to unload paper, or this job's going to not be finished, but the next job's not going to be ready. So the scheduler has what we call helps people get the most out of their day. It's not just about processing the job the fastest, but how to get the most out of their press. And that product has been around for a number of years, but what we introduced 2 years ago was a product called Prisma Sync Remote Manager. And Remote Manager takes that scheduler off of the press. It's still on the press front end, but it allows it in a remote way to be viewed. So if you have multiple presses, you could be remotely managing the schedules and seeing the activity of those presses throughout the day. And I think on an earlier panel today was one of our customers that talked about their business, Hudson Printing. Hudson Printing put in a number of image presses with the Remote Manager and Prisma Sync. They had an operator that retired just during that transition, and they were able to produce increased volumes by going and actually decrease an operator. So they went from 3 press operators in their operation down to 2, and with the help of Prisma Sync and the Remote Manager, they were able to produce even more volume with 2 operators versus before when it had 3 operators.
Thanks so much. HP.
So batching is definitely an area of opportunity. We have a cloud-based solution within our PrintOS architecture called SiteFlow. SiteFlow is actually helping batch and automate the collection of many small jobs. So think of business to consumer, or at this time of year as we get into the holiday season, people are ordering packs of 25 or 50 Christmas cards or greeting cards or 1 calendar, 1 photo book, things like that. So the ability, for example, to take in orders from multiple websites or automated systems, to be able to batch them onto sheets, to run them, to track them all the way through production, and to manage every aspect of it all the way through shipping, including integration with FedEx, UPS, and so forth. So batching, definitely a big area there. And that's kind of on the front end, let's say. It's taking the jobs as they come in and running them through production. But there's also another area on the finishing side, which I think is an area of great opportunity. And the automation there is a system we have called Direct to Finish. And we have an example with Benson Integrated Marketing where they leverage this to automate their cutting, automate setup of their cutters, like their Polar cutter and so forth, And one example is they were able to eliminate 200 plus hours of overtime a month based on the idea that their press operator could set up the job, and the cutter, the person running the cutter, did not have to measure, create cutting plans, and so forth. That was all automated, and it actually has an automated user interface that steps the person running the cutter through every cut while it's adjusting the cutter backplane automatically. So a lot of opportunity in automation before and after the press.
Thanks so much. Avanti.
So all jobs have attributes. It's being put together in the Avanti system about what's the job that we actually have to run, and where's the file that we need to print, and in particular, where's the paper that we're going to be running this on. So the key is to make sure that if we've captured information once, we don't have to enter it again. So I'm putting this information together in a way and a format that is very easy for me to pass that information down to PrintOS or to SiteFlow, or to give the attributes of the job down to Batch Builder in the RICO context. So that's how we maximize capacity utilization, is make it easy for these jobs. No fat fingers re-entering information. We've already captured it once. The other key way to make sure that those presses are humming is to make sure that we don't run out of the things that we need to run that job. Again, paper's the perfect example. So have triggers and alerts when your inventory is being depleted, to make sure that there's a trigger that can go off and say, hey, I need to get another stock order in, to make sure that the presses aren't waiting for something to happen. So we talked about ganging further down the chain here. We talked about batching. So if we can limit the number of times we need to do a tray change in a press, and just stack up all the like work together, or gang the business cards, as Danielle said, it just makes things run much more smoothly.
So Pat, I have specific questions for you, because you're not selling a software integration solution. You're actually InfoTrends' new director of production workflow service. So why not tap into your research information and knowledge here?
Why not?
With that being said, the print chatters are very interested to know, what are the pros and cons of a cloud-based solution like these?
How timely. We've been looking at this quite a bit over the last month, really, and I would say that we said in our breakfast on Monday morning that the cloud today is still a very small percentage of overall workflow. It's got a lot of visibility and a lot of talk track behind it, but it's still a very small percentage of actual execution. Some of the things that stop people from the cloud include a concern about bandwidth, concern about security, not always well-founded concern, by the way, but concern about security. And sometimes the vendor is struggling with a pricing model that makes sense on the cloud, and maybe they feel like it's overpriced and under-delivered. But the bandwidth thing is really what we hear a lot of, is that they're worried about how much data are they going to have to run up to the cloud and bring back down, and oh my God, what happens if the connection goes down? So we hear a lot about that. Over the next 5 years, the size of the cloud that's actually being used, and the number of clouds being used, I mean, it clearly grows, and it probably more than doubles in size. But some of what gets you there is that the consumers of these products that are cloud-based have to get smarter. They need to be well educated. And to be honest, everyone on this panel who has a cloud-based solution has got to learn how to tell a story about what cloud really means. Because some people think that cloud is they honestly think that there might be servers in the sky. There are not servers in the sky. They know that it has to do with the server farm, and that somehow there's everything, that there are private clouds and public clouds and multi-tenant clouds. They know all these things, but they don't actually know what those terms mean. It's like me trying to speak Greek to you and you don't speak Greek. There are a lot of really nice words. You might kind of understand a few of them, but you really don't get what it means. So it's going to come down to, over the next 5 years, especially as we're heading for the next Drupa, having a rock solid story to tell that breaks it down into bite-sized chunks for people to help them understand where the value proposition is, and then making sure you have a value proposition and a pricing model. Because at the end of the day, no printer wants to leave money on the table, and with the right subscription model, the right cloud model, you can add some additional margin back into your pocket if you do it correctly.
Thanks so much. For the rest of the panel now. With the number of mergers and acquisitions in the industry, how are you helping customers connect multiple legacy systems and equipment? And what tips do you have for streamlining those workflows? Avanti, can we start with you?
Sure. The key to connecting disparate systems and legacy systems is standards, and you can joke around that the great thing about standards is that there's so many of them. You know, the dream and the hope was that JDF would be the way that we would all be able to communicate, because HP's way of communicating was a little bit different than Canon's, and which is a little bit different than Heidelberg. And then we had this huge issue inside the industry when software applications are trying to talk to one another. If we get data or information that we're not expecting, we don't know what to do with it. So we just throw up and things grind to a halt. So the way that we help customers get their disparate systems working together is by having very strong relationships on the technical side with the other folks that are on this panel. What we want to avoid is a project that's got multi-vendors in there where the customer feels like they're stuck in the middle, or they're the one that's arbitrating between the hardware vendors and the software vendors, and the one software vendor not getting along with the other one. I would love everybody to talk JDF, but the reality is that everybody doesn't. So we just make sure that we got good relationships with their technology partners for that. And just remind me of the second half of the question. How do we help them streamline?
Yes, how are you helping them streamline when they do have to integrate those systems?
Yeah, the key there is recognizing that there's two types of workflow in the shop. There's production workflow and business workflow, and that's what we do for a living, is help get that information from the business workflow into the production workflow.
Thanks so much. HP, same question.
So, connecting legacy systems, Steve mentioned, comes down to standards. The key that we believe at HP is basically developing, publishing, and supporting open APIs and giving them away, because we want people to integrate. We want people to connect different systems. The systems are fully documented. We have engineers on staff that do nothing all day, every day, but work with customers to help them connect. Now, we don't do it for them. We give them the information, we give them examples, we give them the opportunity to actually test against systems that we can provide in many cases. If they get stuck, we will help them, of course. And we do it at no charge. So we have our APIs on the cloud. They're available right now for anyone in the entire industry to go get, to read, and to start using. Now, we adjust our APIs, we add different capabilities as the industry evolves. And I think one of our most recent examples is on our PrintOS platform, and this morning actually with folks from Avanti and also Alliant Persero and Infigo, we demonstrated live from our booth on a webinar to our user group called DScoop. Integration between 3 different partners that with the PrintOS system, actually it's pre-integrated. All we have to do is take a key from one account, copy it to another account, and the systems connect. So the idea is that it's there already, just to activate it. And so that literally took us 10 minutes last week to connect 3 different systems to ours, our account for it that we're using here at the show. And today we submitted and transferred data and jobs right across the show floor, actually, here from different parts of the show through the cloud. As far as streamlining, the idea that automation is key, and so not only being able to connect things, but being able to have rules-based automation, have different decision points, and be able to batch and be able to set things up, for example, automatically so that they release at certain times. Different types of jobs are combined, and we're leveraging the power of the press. The whole goal on our side is to never have the press stop running. So, you know, I do this. I click my fingers. This is the press running. The whole goal is to make sure that on the system and on the press, there are more jobs than the press can actually produce at the moment. And as jobs are being produced, more jobs are coming in. So our goal is to make sure that our customers can fill up their presses, keep them running, make as much money as possible.
Thanks so much. Canon.
Okay. A number of different examples within Canon, but the one I wanted to touch on was one of our new products we introduced called Prisma Direct. And with Prisma Direct, we designed this product really as an open platform, right? We realize that customers have legacy systems, customers have legacy investments in printing equipment. So really from the beginning, the fundamental design concept of the product is it has to be open and has to be easy to integrate, right? And this is, you know, sometimes when maybe a print vendor, you're trying to, you know, just drive your printers. But the fundamental philosophy and strategy was we want to have an open system. This is, you know, 2016. People have lots of investments in infrastructure. They have lots of investments in print architecture. We need to have an open solution that really can integrate into, you know, the legacy system. So Prisma Direct is an order and workflow management system and helps them get their orders in, manage those orders, and drive them in a very automated way to presses, whether they're Canon presses or third-party presses. It's not press specific. But we designed it that way with the back end flexibility to all different types of print devices. And then on the front end side, it has its own web to print solution if someone needs to have that web submission capability, but we designed it as an option. So we can integrate, and we designed the platform very easy to integrate, you know, with JDF and very easy modular tables to set up and kind of create that mapping with the third-party web submission systems that we can then integrate into different web solutions. So if you're already using an EFI digital storefront or you have your homegrown web-to-print solution, we can integrate that into Prisma Direct. So we can take that work that's coming in, get it into Prisma Direct, but not only get the jobs in, but also get all the information about those jobs. And that's very important on the automation piece because we want to capture the quantity, the paper, the finishing requirements. We want to capture the information from the order and then put that right into the order management system so that can be used to process and prepare the file, and then also pass that down to the print engine so the print engine is selecting the right paper, the right finishing, and there's no re-entry of this information. We're capturing right up front, and we're using it through the entire process to bring that automation and that productivity to the operation.
Thank you. Rico.
Every customer's environment is a snowflake. It's unique. It's grown organically over time, and we embrace that. It starts off with a conversation. Oftentimes, I've found with my customer visits that through acquisition, perhaps some of the expertise on some of the legacy systems has been lost over time. So we've got to dive deeply, capture data, bring it back in, test it against our solutions, and test the integration points. Specifically, I'm thinking of Rico Process Director that can take and modernize that legacy data, index it, whether it's AFP, PCL, PostScript, transform, index, extract data, and then drive it through JDF technology over to the print engines.
Thank you. Solomar.
I love all the references, a snowflake, it's beautiful, and it's true, but they also develop in the clouds, a cumulus nimbus cloud to be specific, right? And servers aren't in the sky, Pat, with diamonds? I thought they were.
No, they're not.
Anyway, I think it's, those are all great comments. M&As. I've lived through 3 of these this year with some of my customers, and connecting the legacy systems and equipment, wow. Going back to something Steven said about standardizing, I like to use the term normalize to a database, because I think that's critical, and finding what the source of truth is based on culture, skills, money involved, and budgets at those organizations. And once we do that and we can find that neutral spot, and one of the things that Solimar provides is neutrality in the marketplace, where it doesn't matter if you have DSF, Prisma, 5000, a Digi, a Bell & Howell, DF Works, Anchor Software, Satori, BCC, it doesn't matter. It has to come in and go out and work together and play nice in the sandbox. And as someone alluded to on the panel already, having open APIs and web services are critical today to allow that to happen. So I think all of those things help to streamline it, and what it allows you to do during an M&A is also to pick what is best and eliminate the weaker players or components within it.
Thanks so much. So we have 2 questions left and 10 minutes before they shut down the lights. So we'll try to move through these a little quicker just this round. And Pat, if you don't mind, I'd like to ask the panel one question, and then I'll come back and let you wrap it up with a question directly for you. So to the panel again. Some say that the workflow of the future allows all constituents in the print job to see a common dashboard. How close are you to providing that? Let's start with Avanti. We'll come down again.
In terms of a common dashboard, I'd go back to the comment I made earlier about there being 2 types of workflow that's going on in the print shop. There's the business workflow and the production workflow. We really look to our partners, like the ones that are on this panel, to be able to provide information back upstream to us for us to display it. So job status is the perfect example of we passed information down, we're getting information back, and it can disappear from the schedule. But in terms of being able to have one dashboard that meets everyone's needs, I don't think that's realistic, because for us it makes more sense to have a role-based dashboard. So if you're on the business side, your dashboard is very different than than someone that's on the production side. So I think the future you're going to see dashboards from the multi-vendors that they have inside the shop, and each of us have a different role to play.
Thank you. HP.
So dashboards are a great topic. I agree with Stephen. I think the key with a dashboard is not, let's say, one universal dashboard, but the ability to actually customize your dashboard, not only maybe between production and business, but even at each production station. So what do I care about if I'm in the cutting station or at the press or in shipping or in assembly or some other station? What's the information that I need there, and have the ability to customize that for myself and streamline so that when I'm looking at the dashboard, the information that's there is highly relevant and can be, interpreted, let's say, quickly and acted on.
Thank you. Canon.
Oops. Sorry.
So the Prisma products that I talked about all have the same common design interface, the same type of dashboard. So between our Prisma Direct product, our Prisma Prepare product, which I mentioned, and Prisma Sync to Control, they all have the same platform. So it has a very common user interface, common look and feel, common dashboard. As mentioned, it's very, very important, though, that it's only what's relevant to that specific operator or operation that you really want to display. So we can very easily create roles and responsibilities, and also create custom views that are specific to that person that's using that operation, whether I'm a press operator or preparing files or I'm picking an order in the warehouse. So the views are adjusted to the operator's roles, but the platform, the user interface, the dashboard is common throughout.
Thank you. Rico Suave.
I think we share a lot of the same opinion on the dashboard as far as it being very role-centric. Everybody's got a different responsibility out there on the print shop. So we have a number of different solutions that do reflect what jobs are coming in, what your next action is going to be, and different ways to automate that dashboard. So whether it's barcode fed technology, so that each person is seeing what's relevant to them.
Thank you so much. Solimar.
Okay, I agree with one thing everyone said, in that it's role-centric, but I'll disagree completely that you can't have one dashboard. You can have one, and you can make it role-based, but one of the things that Solimar has been doing for several years now is we've had a central dashboard with our chemistry enterprise dashboard, and what that does is it picks up anything from disparate databases, whether it's a printer, an inserter, scan stations in a manual operation, it could be software programs, it could be your electronic email distribution systems, understanding if it was a soft bounce, hard bounce, and now it's a compliance message that then has to turn back to print. That's why the connection's key. So I'm a full believer that it needs to be one single dashboard with rule-based.
Thanks. So we have Pat, I'm going to ask you a question, then we actually have one question from home, and then we'll wrap it up.
Alrighty.
So Pat, besides the dashboard we just discussed, what features should workflow providers be developing today?
I'm going to sit in Paul's camp. I think that there are two really big things that everybody ought to be looking at. And one is making sure that whatever their dashboard platform is, that it can API in and out to the common business dashboards, because business, the smaller business owner may not have a need for a common business dashboard, but the larger you get, the larger you scale, and if you're an enterprise customer, these things become absolutely critical. So I think building that into your infrastructure and making sure that that's available becomes absolutely critical. And I do believe that common approach, one throat to choke in the dashboard space, is definitely something that ought to be a goal. And everybody else, I mean, all the other bits and features, whether, what all the information you can give about the finishing, the press operations, whether it passed color management, did the order actually come in the way it was expected, was the file itself built? I think those are all important information. Those are all important pieces of information for the dashboard, but you got to make it all come together.
Thanks so much, Pat. And as I said, Sandy Hubbard's been monitoring our live stream and social media. She has a question from home. It's also her birthday, everybody. Happy birthday, Sandy.
Okay, so our folks, they understand rules-based, all this stuff. They understand if-then. They understand optimizing workflow, integrating it, and the stages that it takes. But they remark that most of their production people are very hands-on. They're used to intervening, and they want to know how long does it take to prove that something like this doesn't, other than the normal inserting themselves in to change something due to an emergency, how long does it take for a production manager, let's say, to see that this really works?
Thank you. Let's start with Solimar, work our way down, and then we'll wrap it up. And just so everybody knows, they're going to shut off the lights in 5 minutes.
Sure, I'll be brief. I think what's important, and one of the things that Solimar's done with these, is let you try before you buy. Let the people feel it, use it, get their hands dirty with it, and understand how it works. And when they do, they're believing it before it's even purchased, and they even have the power to say no. So I think that's key.
Thank you. Rico.
What Rico likes to do is we like to bring it in, build a proof of concept, but not just build a proof of concept, build a test plan and get the customer's buy-in on the test plan. This is what the items that we're going to go and run through and build that relationship of trust right from the get-go, and then be completely transparent with these are the results and are you ready to move forward, and step them through gradually and get that buy-in. I think that that's really important when people are adopting new technology right from the get-go before it's even brought in-house.
Thank you so much. Cannon.
So I do a lot of consulting work with clients, and what I always try to do to help them out is look at it in phases or steps, right? There's a lot that can be done. Do you want to, climb that top of that mountain right out of the gate? Or do you want to kind of set your goals and say, phase one, let's accomplish this, and we know that this is going to be maybe easiest, and it's going to give us a lot of benefits. And then after we accomplish that, how do we go to the next level? So it's always going to vary by the customer and what they're trying to do, but look at realistic expectations and how you can attack that and continue to improve upon it.
Thank you very much. HP.
Thank you. So thinking about the question, on the PrintOS platform that we've built and we're developing, we're actually working towards the same business model as Apple iOS and Google Android. We're creating, if you want to think of the iStore and or Google Play. And so our platform will grow over time. Today we have 13 integrated partners, and we will develop our own apps as we go forward. There's 10 now, there'll be more. We're going to invite our partners to create apps, and we're going to open up the platform at the end of 2017 for the industry to start creating their own apps. At that point, we'll open a marketplace. And so where I'm going is the ability to try apps, try combinations that are pre-integrated, to subscribe and to unsubscribe at will. And so the ability to make sure that what I've got, I can try it. If I only need it for peak season, I can use it and I can disengage. Or if I want to use it longer term, I can sign or actually just check a box and click OK and use it for as long as I need.
Thank you so much. Avanti.
So I completely buy into some of the other comments, proof of concepts, phased approach, as Bob said, but I think the key is...
Sorry, just wait 1 second and finish your thought. Oh, they're holding up cell phone flashlights for you.
The exhibit hall is closed. See you tomorrow at 10 a.m.
Okay, Stephen, go ahead, finish.
The second mouse gets the cheese. So you don't want to be the first mouse to the mousetrap. And the key for that is to make sure, if you want to implement something, work with somebody that's already done that, been there, done that, and we're working with all the partners that are here. Don't be the first time that you're doing a project like this. Work with somebody that's been there, done that.
Pat, anything to sum it all up for us?
I think all I would say is that every one of the people on this panel have an amazing amount of expertise. So if you are one of their customers, go to them and ask your hardest questions because they will help you find answers. And if you're not a customer of one of them, include them in your conversations as you're trying to vet the solutions that are being offered to you.
Thank you so much, and thank you all for your support, for being in the Alliance. This was a great panel. It was very informative. Everybody at home can go to graphexpo16.printmediacenter.com. All the Alliance members have pages, direct access to get in touch with them. Everybody in the booth has a little brochure with the panel, has the information with the panelists, and anybody watching the live stream or the YouTube broadcast after, if you go to that same website, all the panels have the brochures on the site, so you could download it as well. Thank you so much. Great day, great Girls Who Print Day. Thank you, Mary Beth Smith, for everything. Thank you, Sandy, for your day. Happy birthday. Josh, you rock on the camera. My mother, Lady Scanalot, back there, has been scanning up a storm. Thank you, everybody, so much. And, of course, how could I forget Mr. Marco Morales, our photographer. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Deborah. All right, guys, great panel. Very cool.
We'll just wait to funnel it. It's like a